It's time for this week's parting shots.
Silence can be a virtue. Silence can mean listening and reflecting, but it can also mean the exact opposite. Jim Dolan was silent for 2 weeks after cops killed George Floyd. He was silent even though the rest of the NBA wasn't. He was silent even though his players on the Knicks grew furious at his quiet. He was silent even though dozens of employees met up to denounce a company-wide email where Dolan internally doubled down on saying nothing. But this week, the king of Madison Square Garden folded. He said something, even though that something was only barely not nothing. Dolan tweeted 2 sentences, both of which refused to say the words black and police, thereby leaving the victim and the criminal completely unidentified. Quote, "Every one of us has a role to play in creating a more just and equal society where there is no racism, bigotry, violence, or hate. We stand with all who act for positive change." End quote. Those are the words of a child who was forced to apologize to someone, but still won't say who. So after years of listening to Dolan and reflecting, I have just 3 more words for him on behalf of my home, New York City, in the spirit of positive change. Sell the team.
As Americans are reflecting on some of their previous views, those who were striding in their opposition to protests during the national anthem are being asked what they think now. Drew Brees crashed and burned when Yahoo Finance brought the question to him. Now, will we ever hear from Jerry Jones? Jones made it clear in 2017 that players on his team would stand at attention for the anthem. He determined, if nothing else, that protests were a PR loser. But things seem different for many Americans. Colin Kaepernick's point about the dissonance between honoring a nation where cops are allowed to assault and kill black people with impunity is being heard in a way it wasn't 3 years ago. Roger Goodell even made a video apologizing for efforts to squelch peaceful protests in the NFL. But Jones, as media accessible as any NFL owner in history, has nothing to say on the matter. I want to hear from Jerry because his is America's team. The Dallas Cowboys fan base covers every swath of this country from sea to shining sea. It is absolutely the most popular team in Black America. Their supporters made Jones rich, just like the support of anthem hardliners. Even if he disagreed with those who use the anthem to make a point, all his fans deserve meaningful engagement on this matter. He probably wouldn't be booed for kneeling with his players like he was 3 years ago. Capitalism and public opinion, even if just for a moment, are bending toward understanding, not stubbornness. And it would be disappointing if now, with so much going on that affects the lives of his players and patrons, if Jerry Jones still can't be moved.
When it comes to racial progress in the U.S., sports has sometimes led the way and sometimes it has lagged. Major League Baseball and the NFL were both integrated before the armed forces, before Brown v. Board of Education was decided, and long before passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. At the same time, it wasn't until the early 1990s that golf decided not to allow clubs that refuse admission to African Americans to play host to official events. This week, there was long overdue progress in stock car racing, with NASCAR banning the Confederate flag from its events. The hero of the story, Bubba Wallace, the only African-American competing at NASCAR's highest level, the only full-time African-American driver in any of its series. He campaigned for this. He insisted on this.
No one should feel uncomfortable when they come to a NASCAR race. So it starts with Confederate flags. Get them out of here. They have no place for them.
Now, thanks to Bubba Wallace's efforts, we won't see the Confederate flag at Darlington or Daytona or Charlotte or at any other speedway. No longer will it fly under the auspices of NASCAR. Sometimes one person can make a real difference. This week, that person was Bubba Wallace.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.